human trafficking in its 12th annual Trafficking in Persons report. The U.S. State Department kept the Philippines in Tier 2 category, recognizing government's significant efforts to comply with minimum standards for the elimination of severe forms of trafficking. Government has even set up a 24/7 hotline to respond to emergencies or crisis calls from victims of human trafficking. So to tell us more about it, and the country's campaign against human trafficking is Chavez-Arceo, Executive Officer for the Public Affairs and Communications Division of the Interagency Council Against Trafficking, or we can call it IACAT. IACAT, right. All right, Janet, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, anytime, and congratulations, but first of all, I want to understand why you're saying that we've made gains when we're still stuck on the Tier 2 category of the U.S. State Department.
All right. Thank you for asking that question. First of all, you may call me Jan.
Okay.
But it's important for us to understand that for us to be able to maintain our Tier 2 status, it's a big deal. It's a major accomplishment for us. We have always been working on trying to get to the Tier 1 status. Of course, every country that is being evaluated and assessed by the U.S. State Department as far as their anti-trafficking campaigns are concerned would want to be on Tier 1 status. The Philippines has gotten out of the Tier 2 watch list in 2011. We have maintained our Tier 2. And the U.S. State Department has actually acknowledged the accomplishments.
So, are you saying it's almost almost close to impossible to get to Tier 1?
The human trafficking, you particularly, you know one of the things that comes into play as far as human trafficking is concerned.
Worldwide problem, yeah.
It is in fact being referred to as a global menace, and
right.
It is stinky. You've joined us in some of our raids and Julius, and you know how it is to mobilize a whole task force. Yes, you understand what it takes.
You know, if we even look at CNN, they do have Freedom Project.
Exactly.
You know, that's one of the advocacies of CNN as well, because human trafficking is a worldwide problem. So, fine, at least that's a good thing. Then are you saying, Jan, that if we stick to a Tier 2 level and we have the U.S. State Department acknowledging our gains, that's a success in itself? That's success, rather, in itself?
It is.
Okay.
It is. In fact, you know, we are very happy and we are very thankful to all the people who have worked so hard for us to maintain a Tier 2.
You know, let's name them. You have the Bureau of Immigration,
yes.
The DSWD, you have the NBI. Go ahead.
The TSA.
Department of Foreign Affairs.
Yes, of course, the Department of Justice, with all the prosecutors who are really almost sacrificing and risking their safety and their lives just to go after these criminals. They're really, you know, criminals, because human trafficking is crime against humanity.
Absolutely.
Yes, and you mentioned the CNN Freedom Project. It's interesting, but you know, it would be good for our people to know that the CNN Freedom Project has looked at the Philippines and has acknowledged the Philippine efforts in anti-human trafficking as one of the best, and therefore they're featuring us in one of their full-length features.
Very good. Has that come out?
Yeah, it's supposed to come out sometime in October.
Okay, so what have we done so far to have maintained the Tier 2 category and made gains that the U.S. has actually recognized?
You know, Pinky, the Department of Justice particularly has put in place a lot of task forces. You're familiar with them. Yes. So we've put in place a lot more in different areas of the country in various hotspots. We have now a total of about 99 people involved. There's like 12 task forces already now in place. Yes, it is very good.
That's across the Philippines?
Across the Philippines, especially in areas which we've identified as exit points.
Let's talk about that. What are the exit point areas?
Okay, the exit point areas are, now Palawan, now Ilocos also, Zamboanga particularly, and of course the major seaports and airports. So, you know how it is, they need to pass through to immigration to get out. That's for the operations, the human trafficking operations that brings our countrymen outside the country. The seaports ports usually and the transport terminals are usually used for internal trafficking operations. Yeah. So, you know, the IACAT, through the leadership of course, Secretary de Lima, the Undersecretary for IACAT, Undersecretary Jody Salazar, together, of course, working hand in hand with the co-chair of the IACAT, DSWD Secretary Dinky Soliman, and the many other people who have been working so hard on this campaign, have put together, reinforced our task forces, reinforced our social worker teams, among so many other things.
Do we have a number, Jan? For example, monthly, or maybe daily would be difficult, monthly of catch, you know, being able to catch these human traffickers, or not even the human traffickers, but the person being trafficked?
Yeah. You know, every day, all our people on the ground are making the surveillances, you know, watching our ports, our airports, our seaports, our transport terminals. There is a target now being set. It's quite high.
What is it?
It's 100 cases a month, okay? But that is because the leadership of the IACAT is very maverick. He and everybody else at the top level are very committed to making sure that we are really doing our job in terms of eradicating human trafficking.
Yeah. So is that 100 cases to be filed in a month?
To be filed in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you see, thinking now that is really a little bit overwhelming. We were just having a meeting last week with our lawyers, at the DOJ, and they're quite overwhelmed. We're undermanned.
Yeah.
You know that. We're undermanned. We need good lawyers. We need the necessary funding and resources so that we can offer good salary scale to legal minds, but be competitive.
Right, but because of this, you launched this hotline that can possibly help you
Yes.
with this effort of filing 100 cases in a month. They call a number 1343.
That's right.
1343. Okay, tell us more about that.
Okay. We put in place the IACAT action line. It's 1343. Anybody in the Philippines with a cell phone or landline can call 1343. To a mobile phone, they have to call 021343. If they're outside the Philippines, because we have a lot of countrymen victimized and actually being abused, and are victims of human trafficking outside the country, they can use the prefix plus 6321343. We're still working on making it more a direct dial system, But
what is that? You need to speak to the NTC for that?
Yes, we're actually working with some partners now to help us with that.
Yeah, I hope so, so it doesn't get too confusing.
Yes, no, Pinky, well, that's for station now. But as we said, these are all work in progress. What is important, I think, to know for our people, for our countrymen, especially those overseas who feel abandoned, alone, and don't know. I mean, there are a lot of them who are suffering, are victims. We want them to know that the government is putting everything in place so that they can be protected. Beyond the mandate of the law, the Republic Act 9208, it is really the moral obligation of the people working on this campaign.
Okay, so that's 1343, a number that they can call. Does this mean, Jan, that if they are suspecting somebody involved in human trafficking, they can call 1343 and put forward that suspicion?
Yes. Thinking they call that number, and then they give the details that they understand, they know about the case that they're suspecting or know about. There's the operator that takes all of these details, and then there is a referral system in place. So the referral system, of course, the call or the case is referred to key agencies that we deem are the right people to take care of the case being called in.
For example, the NBI, right?
That's right.
But you will be the one to take care of forwarding this query to the NBI.
Yes.
Because sometimes what's a turn-off for people is when they actually call you and tell you what the problem is or what I'm suspecting, and you don't see any action 1, 2, 3 days. That's what turns off people. I mean, if they see you guys acting as soon as possible, the kind of confidence that that will have on people will just skyrocket.
Yes. Thinking we recognize that. No, of course, we need to make sure that all of these calls are screened as well, and make sure, because you have to understand the kind of logistics and resources that goes behind. Yes, you've always been with us. That goes behind pursuing a particular case or lead.
So just, we should already tell them that they should not be discouraged by a call that they will make, for example, and there are 1,000,001 questions that will be asked to the caller, because this is also the way of the department to find out that you are real, you're telling the truth, because you can imagine, even in Patrol 117, the police hotline, there are a lot of 90+% are prank calls.
Exactly, thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly. First of all, we'd like to ask and appeal to the public not to use these action lines for prank calls.
Yes.
You have to understand that there is major logistics, major resources are being used to pursue just one particular case.
Yeah.
That means one call. So please, we might be rescuing already a real victim, but we are pursuing something else that's just out of a prank call. So we enjoin our public, please try to use these call numbers, the 1343, the anti-human trafficking action line 1343, for legitimate reports.
Jan, one last question. What is the most prevalent
Types?
Yeah, of human trafficking? What's the, especially
For
Filipinos, whether here or abroad, what are they trafficked for?
Okay, yes, that's really more than
I mean, it would be drugs, prostitution.
It's forced labor, forced
I
domestic
see.
labor. Yes.
Really?
Yes. I'm having goosebumps now. But at least see how it is. Just recently, and it's ongoing. We have Filipinos being repatriated from Syria. I'm sure you're familiar with that operations now of the government. From probably about 85 to 95% of those repatriated per batch are often found out to be victims of human trafficking.
That's forced labor.
Yes, but mostly forced labor.
But Jan, in a situation like that, wherein you have several agencies of the government that should be taking care of our overseas Filipino workers, one of the most common reasons that I hear is that number one, they're undocumented. So it would be very difficult for Filipino authorities to actually monitor people or OFWs who are undocumented.
Absolutely, Pinky. And that's the reason why the IACAT has to enforce our airports. The task forces at the airports and the seaports have been reinforced further.
Okay.
That means that if at the immigration counters or areas, they will need to be profiled already, and their documents will have to be reviewed very, very thoroughly. It is not to penalize them, thinking we need to communicate that
You're going to make sure that they're there legally.
Yes. Yeah. We are actually protecting them from abuse, possible abuse abroad and overseas.
Well, all right. So at least that's a gain for the Philippines, and we congratulate all those who have been working to somehow, I guess not, well, put to a minimum human trafficking, which is a worldwide problem that we all should be very aware of, and of course do our best also to help in ensuring that none of this can be, just repeat and often repeat itself over and over again. You have that already on your screen. Call 1343. That's the hotline, Laban Contra Human Trafficking. All right.
Vicky, just one last thing. Of course, we want to reach as many Filipinos as possible. We are also on social media now. We have Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter.
What is your Twitter account?
IACAT News.
So that's
IACAT News.
Okay.
And we are also on Facebook. You can like our Facebook page. That's IACAT News /DOJ.
All right, Janet Chavez-Arceo. She's Executive Officer for Public Information and Communications Division of IACAT. Thank you so much, and good luck on this challenge you have. I hope that one day when you do strike that 100 cases a month, you can come back and tell us more about it.
We will.
Thank you.
Pray for us.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
NBA champ Miami Heat celebrate their victory with a parade, and John Travolta faces yet another case. Sports and entertainment news